So on your test, which is not tomorrow, but it's the next day, we're going to be asking you two things about functions. One is, do you know what it means to have something on the inside like that, and then something on the outside like this, and maybe even something on the outside like that? And the other thing is, do you know what order to do them in? So to start with, let's not worry about the order. Let's just talk about, what does this thing mean? Always start with vertical or horizontal. And I give you the mnemonic high-vo, not high-mo, high-vo. Horizontal on the inside, vertical on the outside. All right. So you should know that that is a vertical something. And then don't forget, if it's a stretch or a shrink, you got to say by a factor of, or BFO. This is not a stretch or a shrink, so you don't have to worry about that yet. And then tell me about that, and then tell me about that. What are the three things that happen to this function? Now, this test is a real serious honors level Algebra 2 test. This is supposed to be the easy part right here. Because we also made you memorize a whole bunch of functions, like the V-shaped thing was the absolute value. All right. There's 5, 6 functions you got to know. All right, so that's a vertical reflects. This next thing on the inside, it's on the inside, so you should have like a, ooh, I don't trust it, and I hope that's the case. It's a horizontal, but it's not a stretch, it's a shrink. And BFO, you always have to follow stretch or shrink by BFO, by a factor of, and you don't trust the 2. So you don't put -2. A lot of people say that. You put 1/2. And then last but not least, this 8 here, super simple, down 8. And it's on the outside, so you can trust it. It just seems like it's down 8, and it is down 8. All right. I'm curious, just be honest. I need to know how many of you had this part exactly right. Raise your hand if you did. All right, less than half the class. So let's do another one that's like that. Ready? 3f of 1/2 x minus 2. There's a name for that, there's a name for that, and a name for that. Always start with vertical or horizontal, unless it's just like left. Horizontal left doesn't really help me. It's not wrong. If it's moving left, it's horizontal. Or if it's moving down, that's vertical, but vertical down is kind of like, that's saying the same thing. All right, 9 out of 10 kids are going to get this part and this part right. And it's going to be more like 60-40 on this part, on the middle. So to start with, when you compare with the kid next to you, I'd like you to talk about this 3 and this -2. And then, after you've talked about the outside stuff, and then talk about the inside. And by the way, side note, that's also the order you should do it in. First, second, and yeah, save the hardest part for last. And that's the order that these problems should be done in. There is an order. Just, you know that math has an order, just like PEMDAS. There's a right order to do stuff in. All right, talk to the kid next to you about those 3 things. All right, judging by the noise in the classroom, it quieted down a lot, so that means you're probably done. This was a vertical stretch BFO 3. This, on the outside, was down 2. And again, I expect at least 90% of you had that down. This middle part, definitely the hard part. So first of all, you got to know it's on the inside, so it's horizontal. Then it seems like it's a shrink, so it's a stretch. BFO. And as soon as you go, I feel like I should use a half, you got to ask yourself, do I trust it? Oh, wait, can't trust it, so it's 2. Who had horizontal stretch BFO 2? Raise your hand if you did. Awesome, we got it up to more than like 70 or 80% of you right. Okay, cool. So again, did you hear me on the order thing? This would have been first, this would have been second, and the inside thing is the last thing you do. The order does matter. Now, why does it matter? Well, because in a typical question, we give you a weird looking like lightning bolt shape, for example. And we say, I want you to stretch it and move it and flip it. If you do it in the wrong order, it won't be right. It won't work. All right? So let's say that this is our function. It's going to be the weird lightning bolt shape. I'd like you to take an x, y, and I'd like you to write down these points. 0, 0 is on it. That's right there. 2, 3 is on it. That's right there. 3, 2 is on it. That's right there. And 5, 5 is on it. That's this last one. Okay, write down those points because one of the hardest things on the test is this next thing. I'm going to not say hardest because it depends on the kid. Some of you guys get this. But one of the hardest things on the test is can you take this and then do this to it? F of 1/2 x plus 2. Now the first thing they could ask you is, what did I do to the lightning bolt? And you should be able to answer that question. The second thing is, you have to know how to actually get the new points for the lightning bolt. So let's start on the outside because I told you to start on the outside. That's on the outside, that plus 2. What should I do? And should I do it to the x's or the y's? Okay, it's on the outside, so it's a vertical thing. Do you know which one controls vertical? The y. And then it seems like I should just add 2. Do I trust it? Yes, so I just add 2 to all the y's. So add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, and put it in a little box like this. It doesn't have to have a box, but that's where we put it when you add 2 to everything. So this will be 2, this will be 5, this will be 4, and this will be 7. You know what I did? I just added 2 to all the x's. No, y's. All the y's. Now, of course, the hard part is going to be this second thing we do. It'll be tempting to multiply everything by 1/2, but I think by the way I'm saying it, you'll do it the correct way. Take all your x's and do the right thing to them. Well, what is the right thing? Times them all by 2. 0 times 2 is still 0. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. Now, this will take you an extra 1 minute. But in my opinion, maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But my opinion is worth it. Take a second and I want you to graph this original point, which was the red numbers here. Graph those points. Make grid paper come up. Graph it, and then we'll graph the new blue points, and you'll see that it did what we thought it would do. So add grid paper. If you're having trouble with that, I will help you. Can you turn up your brightness? See the kids work. So do you know how to add the grid paper? 3 dots. And we'll go to this one's called. There you go. So graph 0, 0, 2, 3, 3, 2, and 5, 5. Once you're done graphing the first lightning bolt, then we'll do the transformed lightning bolt. And I hope you'll be able to see it. Oh. hope you'll be able to see that it actually did transform the way you would expect. It got twice as wide. And it's moved up too. So if I were you, I would make your original script knife and make your transformed one. Make your transformed one a different color. When you're done connecting the dots, I hope you see a lightning bolt that is twice as wide as it used to be. But not taller at all. And I hope you see a lightning bolt that has been moved up a little bit. Certainly not perfect, but my lightning bolt does appear to be about twice as wide as it used to be. And it's definitely up higher than it used to be, so cool. All right, that's one of the hardest things. So, now the really tricky stuff, they start writing it different, like this. I want you to process that these two are exactly the same. X over 2, that's the same as 1/2 x. It's the same thing. So whenever you have something like this, if I were you, I would go, actually it'd be easier if I put the 1/2 in front. That's what I'd do. Here's another one. You know that +2 that's at the end? They like to throw it out in the front. Put +2 out there, just to make it look weird. Do you get if I add 2 in the front, it's the exact same thing as if I add 2 at the end? But yet people are like, oh, it's a vertical stretch. No, it's not a vertical stretch. They just added 2 in a funny way. That's not a vertical stretch. Add 2 in the front, it's the same as adding 2 in the back. So if I were you, if they do write it some weird way like that, I'd take that stuff and I'd put it at the back. If it's actually a stretch, it'll be right up against it. Like if I put a 7 here times the F, then now that is a stretch because it's a multiply. That's different than an add, of course. All right, here's one more. Let's see who can catch it. I'm gonna put it, I'm just gonna put it like that and then go -4. I know you're all gonna get the negative right. That's not that hard. Those reflections are easy because you don't have to worry about the, like, is it on the inside? Is it the opposite of what I think? I know you're all gonna get this right, but I think some of you are gonna get confused on the inside. So what I want you to do is tell me things like, that's a vertical stretch, Mr. No, wait, that's not a stretch, it's a reflect. That's a vertical reflect, Mr. Server, and this is down 4, easy peasy. But what is that doing, and what's that? All right. Like I said, I think you're all going to get the outside right, but take a second, talk to the kid next to you. Okay, if they had just had that in there, I think most of you don't know it's on the inside, so it's kind of one of those left-right things. And so that is, seems like right, it's actually left 3, and that is correct. But what about the 2? Well, it feels like it's just sitting up there, but I'd like you to think of it this way. That 2 could have been written right here, and it would have the same effect. Process that for a second. Do you get if I had this problem and I multiplied it, the 2 would go in there? Now, some people think, don't you multiply by the 2 on the top and the bottom? No. When you times by 2, you only multiply it on the top, because 2 is like 2 over 1, isn't it? So the 2 would get multiplied in there, and so that 2 that was inside, it was actually on the outside. And I know that's a very confusing thing to say. This part is the only part that is inside. That thing on the top is part of the outside of the function. I know. It's inside the parentheses, but it's not inside of this. This is where the inside of the 1 over x function is. This could have been on the outside just as easily as on the inside, so therefore it's a vertical, and I can trust it too because it's on the outside. That's a vertical stretch. BFO 2. Vertical stretch by a factor of 2. Okay, so here's a normal one. 5 times the absolute value of x plus 2. Now, if I had to graph this, I would know it's a V shape, used to look like this, and now it's going to get 5 times vertically bigger, and I'm going to move it up 2. But it's such a pain in the butt to graph all of these points, take all of those points, times the y's by 5 and add 2. Times the y's by 5 and add 2 to all the y's. That's how you'd have to do it. So I give you this, the XY chart, your best friend in graphing. This is how I'd do it. Both ways are okay. But I think it's so much easier to just pick a number, stick it in, like pick 0, stick it in, see what point you get. And you have instantly got one of the answers. You don't have to do the whole like find all these numbers on the inside and then get a new number on the outside of all these and then a new number on the outside of all those and then graph those. That takes a long time, and you can't get away from that on some of the problems. But on this kind of problem, you can skip all that crap and just stick a 0 in, see what you get. Stick in a 1, stick in a 2. Whatever you do, stick in stuff that makes the inside small. So I'm going to put in 0 and 1 and 2. Take a second, figure out what your 3 points would be then. Finding points is so critical. It's going to serve you so well. I bet you graph 80 things between now and this time next year. I bet you 80 times you are going to be asked to graph. And this XY chart will work every time. That's why it's worth learning. And that's also why it's on the silver 20. Just didn't ever use absolute values. But finding points on a graph is one of those silver 20 skills. There were a few people came in this morning. That's awesome. Got some help. I know they're going to get A's or B's their next try. If you're one of the kids that's still struggling with the silver 20, these are the skills that are on it, and this is on our next test. If you had gotten them down this weekend, you'd be getting this one right because you're already good at sticking numbers in, seeing what you get. All right, I'm putting a 0 here, and I get 0 plus 2 is 2. I'm putting in a 1, and then 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. And then I'm putting in a 2 here, and that's going to make 10 plus 2 is 12. 2 comma 12 is a little questionable, goes off the graph a little bit. You know, usually graphs only go out to like 10. So I'm just going to put a bonus point up here of -1. If I put in a -1 right here, 5 times -1, well, wait, it's absolute value of -1. So it would be 1. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7. -1 comma 7. That'll graph for sure. So this might have been a little too far off the graph. On the test, if you just go barely off the graph, I'm okay with that. Well, as long as you graph it where it would have been, like 12, it's just a little off, I'm okay with that. That can count. All right, 0 comma 2, it's about there. 1 comma 7, way up there. And -1 comma 7, it's way up there. It looks like it's a really narrow, highly stretched V shape that's been moved up a couple. Doesn't that make sense? That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be vertically stretched and moved up a couple. Cool. All right. That's the main thing for today. So, what's your homework look like? Let's get into it. Everybody find your homework. All right, we're going to do one part A, B, and C together. But before we start, I know this is going to be really hard for you to pay attention to, but the last couple questions, I haven't taught you this stuff, and I just realized it. So let me talk to you about that first. So please stop working on your homework and just listen to this for a second. All the main functions go through the point 1, 1. The square root does. The U-shaped parabola does. Everything goes through 1, 1. So you can use that when they give you a stretched one to tell you how much stretch there has been. All right, you can probably tell I made my parabola ludicrously wide. It's been stretched. The way you can absolutely mathematically tell it's been stretched is it should be going through over 1 and up 1. Do you see what I'm saying? Now you know it's been stretched. Now you just have to look at it and say, was that horizontally stretched? Would you agree it got wider? All right. So now I just got to figure out how much. Well, it didn't go over 1 and up 1. But if you look, and you're going to have some on your homework that are like this today, this one goes over 3 and up 1. Do you get that's 3 times wider? Now you know it's 3 times wider. See what I'm saying? So you check for this, you check for the over 1 up 1 thing, and you go, did it stretch? And if it goes through over 1 up 1, it didn't stretch. All right, here's another example. So again, you've got problems just like this, not only on today's homework, but also on your upcoming test. This is just one of the hardest things. This is a tough test. There's a lot of things to know on this next test. If that's scaring you a little bit, maybe that's okay, because I want you to try really hard for the next 2 days so that you do well in your test in the first place. But I want to remind you that we have done 2 tests now. This will be the second of the 2 serious tests that actually count as summatives. That means it's time for a cumulative test. So after we take this test on Wednesday, then we'll have some review. And then I don't think it's even as early as Friday. I think it's on, oh, that's right, Thursday we have a day off, which is kind of out of nowhere this week. And I think it's some big, which one is it? You guys know what it is? Is it Rosh Hashanah? Is it, I think it's one of those big things. So actually have Thursday off, which kind of shocked me. I didn't even see it on the calendar. But anyway, so then Friday we have a review for the cumulative. Monday we have a review for the cumulative. And then Tuesday we have a cumulative test, which is the same stuff you're getting tested on Wednesday, plus the other test we had. Okay, so you get a chance right away to try again if you haven't got this by Wednesday. Okay, so anyway, here's an upside down parabola, and I need to show you how far up it has moved. It's up 4 spots, and it's flipped upside down. Can you tell if it's been stretched or not? I need to show you that that's at 2. That's at -2. That's at 4 right there. A normal parabola looks like this. This is not a normal parabola. Can you write the equation for this parabola? Hint. Figure out if it's been stretched. And if it hasn't been stretched, what has it had done to it? If it's been flipped, for example, then that's a reflection and that's a negative somewhere. And if it's been moved left or right, that would be on the inside. And if it's been moved up or down, that'd be on the outside. So I'm going to give you an answer that is totally not correct. It's like that, except it's not that. Okay, so make me an equation like that, except make it right. All right, please talk to the kid next to you. See what they think on this one. I'll pause for a second. Okay, we're back live again. I hope that you said that it's been flipped, it's been reflected, so it's upside down, so there's a negative on the outside. Who had a negative on the outside of yours? Good. And then has it been moved left or right? Now, has it been moved up or down? Yes, it's been moved up 4. There you go. There's your equation for it. Now, isn't it nice if you could check it and make sure it's right? You can. You could take just a second and see if the points actually match up. Like if you actually put in 0 in this equation you made, does it really give you the right thing, which would be 4, 0, 4, right? Does it really give you 4? It does. Do you see what I mean? You can check it. So when you have a question like this, just check it quick with an XY chart. It's your best friend in graphing. So 0, 4 would work. And if I tried like 1, that'd be like this part right here. And if I put in 1, I'm getting -3 plus 4. Well, no. 1 squared. It's coming out to 3. There we go. It's -1 plus 4, which is 3. Okay. And there it is, 1, 3. It's on the graph, so I'm doing it right. Yay, I can know this is right. Okay. Any questions? All right, now you're actually ready for the whole worksheet. I'm going to have you skip a few, so bear with me here as we look at the worksheet. We're doing parts A and B and C. You scroll up a little bit, and then we're going to cross off D as in dolphin. We're going to cross off F as in Frank, and scroll a little farther down, and we're going to skip number 2. We're going to do A, B, C, and D. We're going to skip F on that one also. On number 3, those are both critical, and I'm warning you, probably the most missed question on the test is like number 3. So really try hard on number 3 and check your work, double check it against the key. And then scroll up to number 4. This is the one where you have to tell if it's been stretched or not. So you're going to look for, did it go over 1 and up 1? Or over 1 and down 1? Okay, that's just my hint for that, is that's the ones where you got to tell if it's been stretched. And that's it. Do all of the rest of them. Okay. So we're not skipping any of number 4 because there's only 4 of them, and they're also one of the hardest questions on the test. Okay, so now you got your mission. And if you get stuck, you can come up and ask me for help. I would love to help you. Otherwise, test is not tomorrow, test is the next day.